Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody today? Come on, Sherry's peeps. No, in all honesty, I can't figure out how to. Hey, Sol. Hey, Tanya from New Jersey. Nice, right on. Welcome. Hope everybody has their drink. Thanks for joining. Wonderful to see you again, Sol. Sol recently sent me a message that she got her gift card in the mail. So very, very happy. Congratulations for her again. That's what, our winner, and it has arrived safely. Nicholas, I'm the one who emailed you. Well, nice. Thank you for joining. But I don't know. I get a lot of different emails, though, so I don't really know which one exactly that you are. But hola, Enrique. So today's story, we are going to be talking about the Edward Snowden case. Did anybody watch it for the first time after hearing that we were going to do this discussion? Had anybody taken the time to to go and watch it, or no? Or have some of you maybe already seen it, perhaps? It's been a while. Hello, Hamlet. You got the notification? Woohoo! Yay! Right on. So, okay. So I just want to welcome everybody who's new. If you enjoy spending time here with me, throw up a like sign. It just shows me that you're supporting me and that you like spending a minute or two with me. I appreciate the like signs. They make me feel good. And hey, well, that's what we all need to feel in this world, right? A little bit better in life. So thank you very much for all the support. I really appreciate that, guys. Guys and gals, all my peeps, I just love you all. So, okay, Edward Snowden, he was born June 21st, 1983 in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, currently residing in Moscow, Russia. And let's get to his childhood a little bit for you guys. He had a grandfather and his father who both served as senior officials in the Coast Guard career path. So basically, they both sort of serve their country. His mother also serves her country, being a court clerk, district court clerk in the United States as well. Doesn't necessarily need to be specified. So, and I really want to open up the platform in order for you all to basically, like, I just want everybody to talk about this. I want to know how you guys feel about it. I want to know if you think it was a good or a bad thing that Edward Snowden sort of blew the whistle on a lot of confidential information. Definitely want to know, like, your thoughts on what it perhaps benefited in order to have this leaked. And do you live your lives any differently, sort of knowing this now, your day-to-day life versus prior to knowing this? So we'll, for those of you that are familiar with the case, this gentleman worked with some of the highest officials in government, and he ended up collecting information and distributing that to different countries, letting them know basically what was happening behind the scenes. So they sort of view that as a breach, and with the espionage that came into effect, I believe 1992, I think. I could be a little bit off on that, but regardless, this type of when you work for these kinds of officials and these higher up in governments and stuff like that, having a leak of this kind can be quite huge, right? So definitely want to know your thoughts. Fill them into the comment section. I totally would like to know what you all think of this, because it's been all over the news. It's been all over the world, that this, basically the governments are basically listening in on all devices, anything recording, anything that has a camera, blah, 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 right? So how does that make you guys feel in the world now today, though? Do you live your lives any differently, having this information and knowledge versus not? That's kind of like the biggest question I have for everybody, you know? So basically, due to his family members serving, federal governments and stuff like that, it was kind of pretty much in the cards that they were both going to, like him and his siblings were going to end up in federal government in jobs as well. His parents ended up divorcing in 2001, and his father remarried. Snowden scored above 145 on 2 separate IQ tests. In the early 90s, while still in grade school, Snowden moved with his family to an area of Fort Meade, Maryland. Monoculosis caused him to miss high school for almost 9 months. Monoculosis is an infectious, also known as glandular fever. It's an infection usually caused by the Epstein-Barr virus, EBV. Most people are infected by the virus as children when the disease produces few or no symptoms. In young adults, the disease often, results in fever, sore throats, and enlarged larynx and stuff like that. So, due to that, he missed almost 9 months of school in his high school years. So rather than returning to school, he just decided to take the GED test and pass that. He took classes at Anne Ardinal Community College, although Snowden had no undergraduate college degree. He worked online towards a master's degree at the University of Liverpool, England, in 2011. He was interested in Japanese popular culture. He had studied the Japanese language and worked for an anime company that had a resident office in the US. He also said that he had a basic understanding of Mandarin Chinese and was deeply interested in martial arts. At the age of 20, he listed Buddhism as his religion on his military recruitment form, noting that the choice of agnostic was strangely absent. So Snowden's political views were like, he was really not shy to sort of share that. So Snowden said that in 2008, in the 2008 presidential election, he voted for the third-party candidate, though he believed that in Obama's promises following the election, he believed President Barack Obama was continuing policies espoused with George W. Bush. So he, had his own thoughts and opinions about this. So in accounts published in June 2013, interviewers noticed that Snowden's laptop displayed stickers supporting internet freedom organizations, including the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is an international nonprofit digital rights group based in San Francisco, California. And the foundation was formed in July 1990 by John Gilmore, John Barry Barlow, and Mitch Kapor to promote internet civil liberties. And the Tor project. The Tor project is a free and open source software for enabling anonymous communications. Sorry. The name was derived from the acronym for the original software name, project name. The Onion Router. Tor directs internet traffic through a free worldwide volunteer overlay network consisting of several thousand. Anyhow, so moving right along. Let me take a couple sips of my coffee here. Okay. After a week of publication of his leaks began in the Ars Technica, confirmed that Snowden, and the Ars Technica is a website covering news and opinions in technology, science, politics, and society. It was created by Ken Fisher and John Stokes in 1998. It publishes news, reviews, and guides on issues such as computer hardware and software, science, technology, policy, and video games. So, it confirmed that Snowden had been an active participant at the site's online forum in 2001 through May of 2012, discussing a variety of topics under the synonym the True Hoa. In January 2009, entry the True Hoha exhibited strong support for the U.S. Security state apparatus and said leakers of classified information should be shot in the balls. However, Snowden disliked Obama's CIA director appointment of Leon Panetta, saying Obama just named an effing politician to run the CIA. Snowden was also offended by the possible ban on assault weapons, writing, "Me and all my lunatic gun-toting NRA compatriots would be on the steps of Congress before the C-SPAN feed finished." Snowden disliked Obama's economic policies and was against Social Security and favored Ron Paul's call for the return of the gold standard. Ron Paul is an American author, physician, and retired politician who served in the U.S. Representative for Texas 22nd Congressional District from 1976 to 1977, and again in 79 till 85 for Texas 14th Congressional District from 97 to 2013. So the call for the return to the gold standard, which was a monetary system in which the standard economic unit of account is based on a fixed quantity of gold. Three types can be distinguished: specie, bullion, and exchange. In the gold species standard, the monetary unit is associated. Excuse me. Okay, pardon me. Okay, so he was definitely 2014. Snowden supported a basic income. So basic income was also called universal basic income, citizens' income in the United Kingdom, guarantee in the United States and Canada, basic living stipend, or universal demo grant is the periodic cash payment delivered to all on an individual basis. So during his career, feeling a duty to fight in the Iraq War to help free oppressed people, Snowden enlisted in the United States Army Reserve on May 7th, 2004, and became a Special Forces candidate through its 18 times enlistment option. He did not complete the training after breaking both his legs in a training accident. He was discharged medically on September 28th, 2004. Snowden then was employed for less than a year in 2005 as a security guard at the University of Maryland's Center for Advanced Study of Language, a research center sponsored by the National Security Agency. According to the university, this is not a classified facility, though it is heavily guarded. In June 2014, Snowden told Wired, he told Wired that his job as a security guard required a high level of security clearance, for which he had passed a polygraph exam and underwent a stringent background check. So his employment in the CIA after attending a 2006 job affair focused on intelligence agencies that Snowden had accepted an offer for a position at the CIA. The agency assigned him to the Global Communications Division at CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. In May 2006, Snowden wrote in Ars Technica that he had no trouble getting work because he was a computer wizard and distinguishing himself as a junior employee on the top computer team. Snowden was sent to the CIA's secret school for technology specialists, where he lived in a hotel for 6 months while studying and training full-time. So in March 2007, the CIA stationed Snowden with diplomatic cover in Geneva, Switzerland, where he was responsible for maintaining computer network security assigned to the U.S. permanent missions to the United Nations, a diplomatic mission representing the U.S. Interests before the UN and other international organizations. So Snowden received a diplomatic passport and a 4-bedroom apartment near Lake Geneva. According to the Greenwald, while there, Snowden was considered the top technical and cybersecurity expert in that country and was handpicked by the CIA to support the president at the 2008 NATO summit in Romania. Snowden described his CIA experience in Geneva as formative, stating that when the latter was arrested, a CIA operative offered to help in exchange for a banker becoming an informant. So the president Mr. Maurer, president of the Swiss Confederation for the year 2013, in June of that year, publicly disputed Snowden's claim. This would mean that the CIA successfully bribed the Geneva police and judiciary. With all due respect, I just can't imagine it, said Maurer. In February 2009, Snowden resigned from the CIA. In 2009, Snowden began work as a contractee for Dell, which manages computer systems for multiple government agencies assigned to the NSA, sorry, not NASA, at the Yokota Air Base near Tokyo. So Snowden instructed top officials and military officers on how to defend their networks from Chinese hackers. During his 4 years with Dell, he rose from supervising NSA computer system upgrades to working with what his resume termed as a cyber strategist and an expert in cyber counterintelligence at several U.S. locations. In 2011, he returned to Maryland, where he spent a year as lead technologist on Dell's CIA account. In that capacity, he was consulted by the chiefs of the CIA's technical branches, including the agency's chief information officer and its chief technology officer. U.S. officials and other sources familiar with the investigation said Snowden began downloading documents describing the government's electronic spying programs while working for Dell in April 2012. Investigators estimated that of the 50,000 to 200,000 documents Snowden gave to Greenwald and Poitras, most were copied by Snowden while working at Dell. In March 2012, Dell resigned Snowden to Hawaii as lead technologist for the NSA's Information Sharing Office. At this time of his departure of the U.S. In May 2013, he had been employed for 15 months inside the NSA Hawaii Regional Operations Center, which focuses on the electronic monitoring of China and North Korea. The last 3 of which were with consulting firm Booz Allen Hamilton. While the infrastructure analyst, which meant that his job was to look for new ways to break into internet and telephone traffic around the world. On March 2013, 3 days after what he later called his breaking point of seeing the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, directly lie under oath to Congress, Snowden quit his job at Dell. Although he had said that he had said his career high annual salary was $200,000. Snowden said he took a pay cut to work with Booz Allen, where he sought employment in order to gather data and then release details of the NSA worldwide surveillance activity. An anonymous source told Reuters that while in Hawaii, Snowden may have persuaded 20 to 25 coworkers to give them their login credentials by telling them he needed to do his job. The NSA sent a memo to Congress saying that Snowden had tricked a fellow employee into sharing his personal public key infrastructure certificate to gain greater access to the NSA's computer system. Snowden disputed the memos, saying in January 2014 that he never stole any passwords, nor did he trick an army of coworkers. Booz Allen terminated Snowden's employment on June 10th, 2013, 1 month after he had left the country. A former NSA coworker said that although the NSA was full of smart people, Snowden was a genius among geniuses who created a widely implemented backup system for the NSA and often pointed out security flaws to the agency. The former colleague said Snowden was given full administrative privileges with virtually unlimited access to NSA data. Snowden was offered a position on the NSA's elite team of hackers tailored access operations, but turned it down to join Booz Allen. An anonymous source letter said that Booz Allen's hiring screeners found possible discrepancies in Snowden's resume, but still decided to hire him. Snowden's resume stated that he attended computer-related classes at Johns Hopkins University. A spokeswoman for Johns Hopkins said that the university did not find records to show that Snowden attended the university and suggested that he may instead have attended Advanced Career Technologies, a private for-profit organization that operated as a computer career institute at Johns Hopkins University. The University of Maryland University College acknowledged that Snowden had attended a summer session at the UM's campus in Asia. Snowden's resume stated that he had estimated that he would receive a University of Liverpool computer security master's degree in 2013. The university said that Snowden registered for an online master's degree program in computer security in 2011, but was inactive as a student and had not completed the program. Snowden said that he had told multiple employees and 2 supervisors about his concerns, but the NSA disputes his claim. Snowden elaborated in January 2014, saying, "I made tremendous efforts to report these programs to coworkers, supervisors, and anyone with the proper clearance who would listen. The reactions of those I told about the scale of the constitutional violations ranged from deeply concerned to appalled, but no one was willing to risk their jobs, families, and possibly even freedom to go through what Thomas Andrews Drake did in March 2014 during testimony to the European Parliament." So Thomas Andrews Drake is a former senior executive of the U.S. National Security NSA, a decorated United States Air Force and United States Navy veteran, and a whistleblower. In 2010, the government alleged that Drake mishandled documents. So the European Parliament, Snowden wrote that before revealing classified information, he had reported clearly problematic problems to 10 officials who said and did nothing in response. In a May 2014 interview, Snowden told NBC News that after bringing his concerns about the legality of the NSA spying programs to officials, he was told to stay silent on the matter. He asserted that the NSA had copies of the emails, and he sent to their Office of General Counsel oversight and compliance personal broaching concerns about the NSA's interpretation of its legal authorities. I had raised these complaints not just officially in writing through email, but to my supervisors, to my colleagues in more than one office. In May of 2014, U.S. officials released a single email that Snowden had written in April 2013, inquiring about legal authorities, but said that they had found no other evidence that Snowden had expressed his concern to someone in an oversight position. In June 2014, the NSA said that it had not been able to find any records of Snowden raising internal complaints about the agency's operations. The same month, Snowden explained that he himself had not produced the communiques in question because of the ongoing nature of the dispute, disclosing for the first time, I am working with the NSA in regard to these records, and we're going back and forth, so I don't want to reveal everything that will come out. In his May 2014 interview with NBC News, Snowden accused the US government of trying to use one position here or there in his career to distract from the totality of his experience, downplaying him as a low-level analyst. In his words, he was trained as a spy in the traditional sense of the word, in that I lived and worked undercovers overseas, pretending to work in a job that I'm not, and even being assigned a name that was not mine. He said he'd worked for the NSA undercover overseas and for the DIA, and developed sources and methods to keep information and people secure in the most hostile and dangerous environments around the world. So what they say, I'm a low-level system administrator, that I don't know what I'm talking about, I'd say is somewhat misleading. In the June interview with Global TV, Snowden reiterated that he was actually functioning at a very senior level. And in a July interview with The Guardian, Snowden explained that during his NSA career, he began to move from merely overseeing these systems to actively directing their use. Many people don't understand that I was actually an analyst, and I designed individuals and groups for targeting. Snowden subsequently told Wired that while at Dell in 2011, I would sit down with the CIO of the CIA, the CTO of the CIA, the chiefs of all the technical branches. They would tell me their hardest technology problems, and it was my job to come up with a way to fix them. Now, the CIO is the Chief Information Officer, and then the CTO is the Chief Technology Officer. So of his time as the NSA analyst directing the work of others, Snowden recalled a moment when he and his colleagues began to, have severe ethical doubts. Snowden said 18 to 22 years old analysts were suddenly thrust into a position of extraordinary responsibility. Where they are now, or where they now have access to all your private records. In the course of their daily work, they stumble across something that is completely unrelated in any sort of necessary sense. For example, an intimate nude photo of someone who is sexually comprising situation, but they're extremely attractive. What do? They turn around in their chair and they show a coworker. The sooner or later, the person's whole life has been seen by all of those other people. As Snowden observed, this behavior happened routinely every 2 months, but was never reported being considered one of the fringe benefits of the work. So the global surveillance, the exact size of Snowden's disclosure is unknown. Australian officials have estimated 15,000 or more Australian intelligence files, and British officials have estimated at least 58,000 British intelligence files. NSA Director Keith Alexander initially estimated that Snowden had copied anywhere from 50,000 to 200,000 NSA documents. Later estimates provided by U.S. officials were on the order of 1.7 million, a number that originally came from Department of Defense talking points. In July 2014, the Washington Post reported on a cache previously provided by Snowden from domestic NSA operations, considering roughly 160,000 intercepted emails and instant message conversations, some of them hundreds of pages long, 7,900 documents taken from more than 11,000 online accounts, some of them hundreds of pages long. The U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency reported declassified in June 2017. They had said that Snowden took 900,000 Department of Defense files, more than he had downloaded from the NSA. In March of 2014, Army General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, told House Armed Service Committee, the vast majority of the documents that Snowden exfiltrated from our highest levels of security has nothing to do with exposing government oversight or domestic activities. The vast majority of those were related to our military capabilities, operations, tactics, techniques, and procedures. When asked in May 2014 interview to quantify the number of documents Snowden stole, retired NSA Director Keith Alexander said there was no accurate way of counting what he took, but Snowden may have downloaded more than 1 million documents. According to Snowden, he had not indiscriminately turned over documents to journalists, stating that I carefully evaluated every single document I disclosed to ensure that each was legitimately in the public's interest. There were all sorts of documents that would have been or would have made a big impact that I didn't turn over, and that I have to screen everything before releasing it to the journalists. So if he had time to go through this information, he would like to make it available to journalists in each country. Despite these measures, the improper redaction of the documents of the New York Times resulted in the exposure of intelligence activity against Al-Qaeda. So in June 2014, the NSA recently installed Director U.S. Navy Admiral Michael S. Rogers said that while some terrorist groups had altered their communications to avoid surveillance techniques revealed by Snowden, the damage done was not significant enough to conclude that the sky is falling. Nevertheless, in February 2015, Rogers said that Snowden's disclosure had a material impact on the NSA's direction and evaluation of terrorist activities worldwide. On June 14th, 2015, UK's Sunday Times reported that Russian and Chinese intelligence services had encrypted more than 1 million classified files in the Snowden cache, forcing the UK's MI6 intelligence agency to move agents out of live operations in hostile countries. Sir David Almond, former director from the UK's GCHQ intelligence gathering agency, described it as a huge strategic setback that was harming Britain, America, and their NATO allies. So the Sunday Times said that it was not clear whether Russia and China stole Snowden's data or whether Snowden voluntarily handed it over to remain at liberty in Hong Kong and Moscow. But in April of 2015, the Henry Jackson Society, a British neoconservative think tank, published a report claiming that Snowden's intelligence leaks negatively impacted Britain's ability to fight terrorism and organized crime. Gus Hussain, executive director of Privacy International, criticized the report for, in his opinion, presuming that the public became concerned about privacy only after Snowden's disclosures. So, how do you guys feeling about this so far that we've gone through some of this info? I'm just going to look at some of these comments here, see where you guys are at. Very interesting case, right? My biggest questions to all of you guys. Hi, Sapphire Hawk. My biggest question to all of you guys is, do you think that this was a good thing? Do you think that you've benefited at all, even to have the information that you know now about all of this, right? For you, it just shows the government is spying on us. Oh, man. Here's the other thing, really. If you're not doing anything wrong, does it really even matter? I mean, I almost kind of go with the girlfriend, Edward Snowden's girlfriend, where she was just like, I really don't have anything to hide, whatever. Like, so they're watching or they're listening or they're seeing or whatever, right? Just, I mean, if you know you're going to be walking around the house naked, obviously close your cameras, close down your devices so they're not all laying open, right? But let's face it, it's bye-bye Alexa, Hamlet says. You're funny, Hamlet. I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing, because people that are doing wrong can almost be caught a little bit easier now that this is sort of in place, right? I don't know. Let's carry on with some of the info here. So Snowden's decision to leak the NSA documents developed gradually following his March 2007 posting as a technician to the Geneva CIA station. Snowden first made contact with Glenn Greenwald, a journalist working at The Guardian, on December 1st, 2012. He had contacted Greenwald anonymously as Cincinnatus and said he had sensitive documents that he would like to share. Greenwald found the measures that the source asked him to take to, like the way the measures the sources he was asking him to take to secure their communications, such as encrypting emails to, he found it very annoying. But Snowden then contacted documentary filmmaker Laura Poitras in January of 2013. And according to Poitras, Snowden chose to contact her after seeing her New York Times article about NSA whistleblower William Binney. Now, William Binney is that former United States national security officer that was a whistleblower in October. He had retired October 2001. So what originally attracted Snowden to both Greenwald and Poitras was a Salon article written by Greenwald detailing how Poitras's controversial films had made her a target on the government. Greenwald began working with Snowden in either February or April 2013 after Poitras asked Greenwald to meet her in New York City, at which point Snowden began providing documents to them. Barton Gellman, writing for the Washington Post, said his first direct contact was on May 16th, 2013. According to Gellman, Snowden's approached Greenwald after the Post declined to guarantee publication within 72 hours of all 41 PowerPoint slides that Snowden had leaked, exposing the PRISM electronic data mining program to publish online as encrypt coding, allowing Snowden to later prove that he was the source. So PRISM was the code name for the program under which the United States National Security collects internet communications from various internet companies. So Snowden communicated using encrypted email and going to codename Verex. He asked not to be quoted at length for fear of identification of stylometry. According to Gellman, prior to their first meeting in person, Snowden wrote, "I understand that I will be made to suffer for my actions, and that the return of this information to the public marks my end." Snowden also told Gellman that until the articles were published, the journalists working with him would also be at mortal risk from the United States intelligence community. If they think you are you are the single point of failure that could stop this disclosure and make them the sole owner of this information. In May 2013, Snowden was permitted temporary leave from the position at the NSA in Hawaii on the pretext of receiving treatment for his epilepsy. In mid-May, Snowden gave an electronic interview to Poitras and Jacob Appelbaum, which was published weeks later by Der Spiegel. After disclosing the copied document, Snowden promised that nothing would stop subsequent disclosure. In June 2013, he said, "All I can say right now is the government is not going to be able to cover this up by jailing or murdering me. Truth is coming and it cannot be stopped." So on May 20th, 2013, Snowden flew to Hong Kong, where he was staying when the initial articles based on the leaked documents were published, beginning with The Guardian on June 5th. Greenwald later said Snowden disclosed 9,000 to 10,000 documents. Within months, documents had been obtained and published by media outlets worldwide, most notably The Guardian from Britain, the Der Spiegel from Germany, The Washington Post and the New York Times from the US, The Globo in Brazil, Le Monde in France, the similar outlets in Sweden, Canada, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Spain, and Australia. In 2014, NBC broke its first story based on the leaked documents in February 2014. For reporting based on Snowden's leaks, journalists Glenn Greenwald and Laura Poitras, Barton Gellman, and The Guardian Ewan MacAskill were honored as co-recipients of the 2013 George Polk Award. The George Polk Award in journalism are a series of prestigious American journalism awards presented annually by Long Island University in New York in the US. Very prestigious. And the NSA reporting that these journalists also earned The Guardian and The Washington Post the 2014 Pulitzer Prize for Public Service, which is one of 14 American Pulitzer Prizes annually awarded for journalism in recognition of distinguished example and meritorious public service by a newspaper or news site through the use of its journalistic resources. So they, were awarded these prizes in 2014 for exposing the widespread surveillance and for helping to spark the huge public debate about the extent of the government spying. The Guardian chief editor, Alan Rusbridger, credited Snowden for having performed a public service. The ongoing publications of leaked documents has revealed previously unknown details of the global surveillance apparatus run by the United States NSA in close cooperation with three of its Five Eyes partners, Australia's ASD and UK's GCHQ and Canada's CSEC. On June 5th, 2013, media reports documenting the existence of and functions of classified surveillance programs, and their scope began and continued through the entire year. The first program to be revealed was PRISM, which allowed for court-approved direct access to Americans' Google and Yahoo accounts, reported from both The Washington Post and The Guardian, published 1 hour apart from each other. Barton Gellman, The Washington Post, was the first journalist to report on Snowden's documents. He said that the U.S. government urged him not to specify by name which companies were involved, but Gellman decided to name them, would make it real to Americans. That's what he had stated. Reports are also revealed details of Tempora, a British black ops surveillance program run by the NSA's British partner GCHQ. The initial reports included details about NSA database boundless informant, and of the secret court order requiring Verizon to hand the NSA millions of Americans' phone records daily. The surveillance of France citizens' phones, records, and internet records, and those of high-profile individuals from the world of business or politics. The X key scores, an analytic tool that allows for a collection of almost anything done on the internet, was described by The Guardian as the program that shed light on on one of Snowden's most controversial statements. I, sitting at my desk, could wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to federal judge or even the president if I had the personal email. The NSA's top secret black budget obtained from Snowden by the Washington Post exposed the successes and failures of the 16 spy agencies comprising of the U.S. intelligence community, and revealed that the NSA was paying U.S. private tech companies for clandestine access to their communications networks. The agencies were allotted $52 billion for the 2013 fiscal year. It was revealed that the NSA was harvesting millions of emails and instant messages, contacts lists, searching email content, and tracking and mapping the location of cell phones, undermining attempts at encryption via Bull Run, and that the agency was using cookies to piggyback on the same tools used by the internet advertisers to pinpoint targets for governmental hacking and to bolster surveillance. The NSA was shown to be secretly accessing Yahoo and Google data centers to collect information from hundreds of millions of account holders worldwide by tapping undersea cable using the Muscular Surveillance Program. The NSA and CIA and GHQ spied on users of Second Life, Xbox Live, World of Warcraft, and attempted to recruit would-be informants from the sites. According to the documents revealed in December 2013, leaked documents showed NSA agents also spied on their own love interests, practice NSA employees termed as love int, and the NSA was shown to be tracking the online sexual activity of people they termed as radicalizers in order to discredit them. Following the revelation of Black Pearl, a program targeting private networks, the NSA was accused of extending beyond its primary mission of national security. The agency's intelligence gathering operations had targeted, among others, oil giants Petrobras, Brazil's largest company. The NSA and GCHQ were also shown to be surveilling charities, including UNICEF and Médecins du Monde, as well as aliases such as European Commissioner such as European Commissioner Joaquin Almunia and Israeli Prime Minister. In October of 2013, Glenn Greenwald said that the most shocking and significant stories are the ones that they're still working on and they had yet to publish. By November, the Guardian editor-chief Alan Rusbridger said that that the only 1% of the documents had been published. In December, Australia's Minister for Defence, David Johnson, said his government assumed the worst was yet to come. And by October 2013, Snowden's disclosure had created tensions between the U.S. and some of its close allies after they revealed that the U.S. had spied on Brazil, France, Mexico, Britain, China, Germany, and Spain, as well as 35 world leaders, most notably German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who said spying among friends was unacceptable, and compared the NSA with the Stasi. The Stasi is the Ministry for State Security or State Security Service, commonly known as Stasi. That was the official state security service in the German Democratic Republic. Definitely has some importance there. So leaked documents published by Der Spiegel in 2014 in Germany appeared to show that the NSA had targeted 122 high-ranking leaders. An NSA mission statement titled SIGINT Strategy affirmed that the NSA had plans for continued expansion of surveillance activities. Their stated goals was to dramatically increase mastery of the global network and to acquire adversaries' data from anyone, anytime, anywhere. Leaked slides revealed in Greenwald's book No Place to Hide, released in May of 2014, showed that the NSA's stated objective was to collect it all, process it all, exploit it all, partner it all, sniff it all, and know it all. Snowden said in a January 2014 interview with German television that the NSA does not limit its data collection to national security issues, accusing the agency of conducting industrial espionage. Using the example of German company Siemens, he said, if there's information at Siemens that's beneficial to U.S. national interest, even if it doesn't have anything to do with national security, then they'll take that information nevertheless. In the wake of Snowden's revelations and in response to the inquiry from the left party, Germany, Domestic Security Agency investigated that and found no concrete evidence that the U.S. conducted economic or industrial espionage in Germany. But in February of 2014, during testimony of the European Union, Snowden said that the remaining undisclosed programs, I will leave the public interest determinations as to whether which of these may be safely disclosed to responsible journalists in coordination with government stakeholders. So in March of 2014, documents disclosed by Glenn Greenwald, writing for The Intercept, showed that NSA, in cooperation with GCHQ, that has plans to infect millions of computers with malware using a program called Turbine. Revelations included information about Quantum Hand, a program through which the NSA set up fake Facebook server to intercept connections. According to a reporter, the Washington Post, in July 2014, relying on information furnished by Snowden, 90% of those placed under surveillance in the U.S. are ordinary Americans and are not, the intended targets. The newspaper said it had examined documents including emails, message texts, and online accounts that support the claim. In the August 2014 interview, Snowden for the first time disclosed the cyber warfare program in the works codename Monstermind that would automate detection of a foreign cyber attack as it began and automatically fire back. These attacks can be spoofed, said Snowden. You could have someone sitting in China, for example, making it appear as one of these attacks is originating in Russia, and then we end up shooting back at the Russian hospital. What happens next? So it was, later found out that Snowden's first contemplated leaking confidential documents around 2008, but he held back partially because he believed the newly elected Barack Obama might introduce reforms. After the disclosure, his identity was made public by The Guardian at his request on June 9th, 2013. I do not want to live in a world where everything I do and say is recorded, he said. My sole motive is to inform the public as to that which is done in their name and that which is done against them. Snowden said he wanted to embolden others to step forward by demonstrating that they can win. He also said that the system for reporting problems did not work. You have to report wrongdoing to those most responsible for it. He cited a lack of whistleblower protection for government contractors, the use of the 1917 Espionage Act. I thought it was a lot later than that. I thought it was like the 90s. I totally was wrong about that. So the 1917 Espionage Act to prosecute leakers and his belief that he had used internal mechanisms to sound the alarm, his revelations would have been buried forever. So in December of 2013, upon learning that the US federal judge had ruled the collection of the US phone metadata conducted by the NSA as likely unconstitutional, Snowden said, I acted on my belief that the NSA's mass surveillance program would not withstand a constitutional challenge and that the American public deserved a chance to see that these issues determined by open courts today, a secret program authorized by a secret court, when was exposed to the light of day, found to violate Americans' rights. In January 2014, Snowden said his breaking point was seeing the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, directly lie under oath to Congress. This referred to testimony on March 12, 2013, 3 months after Snowden first sought to share thousands of NSA documents with Greenwald, and 9 months after the NSA says that Snowden made his first illegal downloads during the summer of 2012, in which Clapper denied to the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence that the NSA wittingly collects data on millions of Americans, Snowden said. There's no saving an intelligence community that believes it can lie to the public and the legislators who need to be able to trust it and regulate its actions. Seeing that that really meant for me that there was no going back. Beyond that, it was creeping, realization that no one else was going to do this. The public had a right to know about these programs. In March 2014, Snowden said he had reported policy or legal issues relating to the spy programs to more than 10 officials, but as a contractor had no legal avenue to pursue further whistleblowing. So in May of 2013, Snowden took a leave of absence, telling his supervisors that he was returning to mainland for epilepsy treatment, but instead left Hawaii for Hong Kong, where he arrived on May 20th. Snowden told Guardian reporters in June that he had been in his room at the Mira Hotel since his arrival in the city, rarely going out. On June 10th, correspondent Ewan McCaskill said Snowden had left his hotel only briefly 3 times since May 20th. Snowden vowed to challenge an extradition attempt by the US government and engaged Hong Kong-based Canadian human rights lawyer Robert Thibault as a legal advisor. Snowden told the South China Morning Post that he planned to remain in Hong Kong for as long as its government would permit. Snowden also told the Post that the United States government has committed a tremendous number of crimes against Hong Kong and the PRC as well. The PRC is the People's Republic of China. It's a country of East Asia and the world's most popular country, which with the population around 1.404 billion, covering approximately 9,600,000 square kilometers. Crazy huge. So going on to identify Chinese internet protocol addresses that the NSA monitored and stated that the NSA collected text messages data for Hong Kong residents. Glenn Greenwald and Snowden was motivated by a need to ingratiate himself in the people of Hong Kong and China. So after leaving the Mira Hotel, Snowden stayed in a cramped apartment with other refugees seeking asylum in Hong Kong, and arrangements set up by Thibault, the lawyer, to hide from the authorities. The Russian newspaper Kommersant nevertheless reported that Snowden was living at the Russian consulate shortly before his departure from Hong Kong to Moscow. Ben Wisner, a lawyer with the American Civil Liberties Union, a legal advisor to Snowden, said in January 2014, every news organization in the world has been trying to confirm that story. They haven't been able to because it's false. Likewise, rejecting the Kommersant story was Anatoly Kuchera, who became Snowden's lawyer in July 2013 when Snowden asked him for help in seeking temporary asylum in Russia. So Kuchner said that Snowden did not communicate with Russian diplomats while he was in Hong Kong. In early September 2013, however, Russian President Vladimir Putin had said that a few days before boarding the plane to Moscow, Snowden met in Hong Kong excuse me, met in Hong Kong with Russian diplomat representatives. So on June 22nd, 18 days after publication of Snowden's NSA documents began, officials revoked his US passport. On June 23rd, Snowden boarded the commercial air flight, he left for Moscow, accompanied by Sarah Harrison of WikiLeaks. So Hong Kong authorities said that Snowden had not been detained for the U.S. because the request had not fully complied with Hong Kong law, and that there was no legal basis to prevent Snowden from leaving. On June 24th, a U.S. State Department spokesman rejected the explanation of technical noncompliance, accusing the Hong Kong government of deliberately releasing the fugitive despite a valid arrest warrant and after having sufficient time to prohibit his travel. The same day, Julian Assange said that WikiLeaks had paid for Snowden's lodging in Hong Kong and his flight out. In October 2013, Snowden said that before flying to Moscow, he gave all the classified documents he had obtained to journalists he met in Hong Kong and kept no copies for himself. In January of 2014, he told German TV interviewer that he had gave all the information to American journalists reporting on American issues. During his first American TV interview in May 2014, Snowden said he had protected himself from Russian leverage by destroying the material he had been holding before landing in Moscow. On June 23rd, 2013, Snowden landed in Moscow at the airport. WikiLeaks said that he was on a circuitous but safe route to Asylum in Ecuador. Snowden had a seat reserved to continue to Cuba, but did not board that onward flight, saying in January of 2014 interview that he intended to transit through Russia, but was stopped en route. He asserted a plane load of reporters documented the seat I was supposed to be in when he was ticketed for Havana, but the U.S. canceled his passport. He said the U.S. wanted him to stay in Moscow so they could say he's a Russian spy. Greenwald account differed on the point that Snowden, being already ticketed, according to Greenwald, Snowden's passport was valid when he departed Hong Kong, but was revoked during his hours in transit to Moscow, preventing him from obtaining a ticket to leave Russia. Greenwald and Snowden was, thus focused to stay in Moscow and seek asylum. So according to Russian reports, Snowden planned to fly from Moscow through to Latin America. However, Cuba told Moscow it would not allow Aeroflot plane carrying Snowden to land. So Russian newspaper Kommersant reported that Cuba had a change of heart after receiving pressure from the U.S. officials, leaving him stuck in a transit zone because at the last minute Havana told officials in Moscow not to allow him on the flight. The Washington Post contrasted this version with what is called widespread speculation that Russia never intended to let Snowden proceed. Fidel Castro called claims that Cuba would have blocked Snowden's entry a lie and a libel. Describing Snowden's arrival in Moscow as a surprise and likening it to an unwanted Christmas gift, Russian President Putin said that Snowden remained in the transit area of the Sheremetyevo airport. He had commented no crime in Russia. He had committed no crime in Russia and was free to leave and should do so. Putin denied that Russian intelligence agencies had worked or were working with Snowden. Following Snowden's arrival in Moscow, the White House expressed disappointment in Hong Kong's decision to allow him to leave. An anonymous U.S. official not authorized to discuss the matter told AP Snowden's passport had been revoked before he left Hong Kong, but that a senior official in the country or airline could order subordinates to overlook the withdrawn passport U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said that that Snowden's passport was canceled within hours of the charges against Snowden being made public, which was Friday, June 21st. In a July 1st statement, Snowden said, "Although I am convicted of nothing, the U.S. government has unilaterally revoked my passport, leaving me a stateless person without a judicial order. The administration now seeks to stop me exercising a basic right, a right that belongs to everybody, the right to seek asylum." 4 countries offered Snowden permanent asylum: Ecuador, Nicaragua, Bolivia, and Venezuela. No direct flights between Moscow and Venezuela, Bolivia, and Nicaragua existed. However, the U.S. pressured countries along this route to hand him over. Snowden said in July 2013 that he decided to bid for asylum in Russia because he felt there was no safe way to reach Latin America. Snowden said that he remained in Russia because when he was talking about other possibilities for asylum in Latin America, the United States forced down the Bolivian president's plane, citing the Morales plane incident. The Morales plane incident on 1st of July 2013, Evo Morales of Bolivia, who had been attending a conference of gas exporting countries in Russia, gave an interview to the RT television network in which he appeared predisposed to offer asylum to Edward Snowden. So on the issue, he said that some governments in Western European and Northern American states have demonstrated a willingness to act outside of the law, and this behavior persists today. This unlawful treatment makes it impossible for me to travel to Latin America and enjoy the asylum granted there in accordance with our shared rights. He said that he would travel from Russia if there was no interference from the U.S. government. 4 months after Snowden arrived in Russia, Julian Assange commented that while Venezuela and Ecuador could protect him in the short term, over the long term, there could be a change in government. In Russia, he's safe and he's well regarded, and that is not likely to change. That was his advice to Snowden, and that he would be physically safest in Russia. So according to Snowden, the CIA had a very powerful presence in Latin America, and the governments and security services there are relatively much less capable than, say, Russia. They could have basically snatched me. In October of 2014, interview with the Nation magazine, Snowden reiterated that he had originally intended to travel to Latin America. And a lot of people are still unaware that, I never intended to end up in Russia. According to Snowden, the U.S. government waited until I departed Hong Kong to cancel my passport in order to trap me in Russia, Snowden added. If they really wanted to capture me, they would have allowed me to travel to Latin America because the CIA can operate with impunity down there. They did not want that. They chose to keep me in Russia. So on so Snowden had applied for political asylum to 21 countries. A statement attributed to him contended that the U.S. administration, and specifically Vice President Joe Biden, had pressured the governments to refuse his asylum petitions. Biden had telephoned President Rafael Correa days prior to Snowden's remarks, asking the Ecuadorian leader not to grant Snowden asylum. Ecuador had initially offered Snowden a temporary travel document, but later withdrew it, and Korea later called to offer a mistake. In a July 1st statement published by WikiLeaks, Snowden accused the U.S. government of using citizenship as a weapon and using what he described as old bad tools of political aggression, citing Obama's promise to not allow wheeling and dealing over the case. Snowden commented, "This kind of deception from the world leader is not justice, and neither is the extra legal penalty of exile." So several days later, WikiLeaks announced that Snowden had applied for asylum in 6 additional countries, but declined to name them, alleging attempted U.S. interference. After evaluating the law and Snowden's situation, the French Interior Ministry rejected his request for asylum. Poland refused to process his application because it did not conform to legal procedure. Brazil's foreign ministry said that the government planned no response to Snowden's asylum request. Germany and India rejected Snowden's application outright, while Austria, Ecuador, Finland, Norway, Italy, the Netherlands, and Spain said that he must be on their territory to apply. In November 2014, Germany announced that Snowden had not renewed his previously denied request and was not being considered for asylum. Glenn Greenwald later reported that Sigmar Gabriel, Vice Chancellor of Germany, told him the U.S. government later reported that Sigmar told the U.S. government that had threatened to stop sharing intelligence if Germany offered Snowden asylum or arranged for his travels there. I'm going to grab one more coffee, take a quick little breather, and then we're going to finish this up. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Thank you for all the likes. I appreciate it. Okay, I'll be right back. Sorry. Hello, Jacqueline. How do you guys like the straight hair, by the way? I straightened it to show you guys what it looks like. So cool, right? Change up the look a bit. I actually used to wear my hair straight all the time before. Perfect, not too hot. Looks nice, eh? Yeah, I kind of liked switching it up a bit. I usually I love the curls. I love my curls, but this was kind of a different kind of a change. But yeah, I'm from Canada. And we are talking about the Edward Snowden case. You love the straight? I used to wear it like this all the time. You remember I told you guys I was Sherry with the long blonde hair? Still here. But anyways. But yeah, I like to switch it up a bit. I found my straightener. I was like, oh, look, there it is. I guess I'll like try this, and just had some fun playing, switching up the look a bit. Very pretty. Okay, so Mr. Vladimir Putin said on July 1st, 2013, that if Snowden wanted to be granted asylum in Russia, he would be required to stop his work aimed at harming our American partners. The spokesperson for Putin subsequently said that Snowden had withdrawn his asylum application upon learning of the conditions. You love the blue necklace? Kind of matches the earrings there, right? Okay, so in July 12th, meeting at the airport with representative of human rights organizations and lawyers organized in part by the Russian government, Snowden said that he was accepting all offers of asylum, and that he would request asylum in Russia until he resolved his travel plans. So Russian Federal Migration Services officials confirmed on July 16th that Snowden had submitted an application for temporary asylum. On July 24th, Katerina said his client wanted to find work in Russia, travel, and create a life for himself. He had already begun learning Russian. Amid media reports, the early July 2013 attributed to U.S. administration sources that Obama's one-on-one meeting with Putin ahead of the G20 meeting in St. Petersburg, scheduled for September, was in doubt due to Snowden's protracted sojourn in Russia. Top U.S. officials repeatedly made it clear to Moscow that Snowden should immediately be returned to the United States to face charges for the unauthorized leaking of classified information. His Russian lawyer said Snowden needed asylum because he faced persecution by the U.S. government, and feared that he could be subjected to torture and capital punishment. In the letter to Russian Minister of Justice, Mr. Konovalov, dated July 23rd, U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder repudiated Snowden's claim to refugee status and offered a limited validity passport good for direct return to the U.S. He further asserted that Snowden would not be subject to torture or the death penalty, and would receive trial in a civilian court with proper legal counsel. The same day, the Russian president's spokesman reiterated that his government would not hand over Snowden, noting that Putin was not personally involved in the matter, and that it was being handled through talks between FBI and Russia's FSB. So the criminal charges: on July 14th, 2013, the United States federal prosecutors filed criminal complaint against Snowden, charging him with theft of government property and 2 counts of violating the Espionage Act of 1917 through the unauthorized communication of national defense information and willful communication of classified communications intelligence information to an unauthorized person. Each of the 3 charges carries a maximum possibility or prison term of 10 years, and the charge was initially secret and was unsealed a week later. Snowden was asked in January 2014 interview and returning to the U.S. to face the charge in court, as Obama had suggested a few days prior. Snowden explained why he rejected the request. What he doesn't say are that the crimes that he's charged me with are crimes that don't allow me to make my case. They don't allow me to defend myself in open court to the public and convince a jury that what I did was to their benefit. So it's, I would say, illustrative that the president would choose to say someone should face the music when he knows the music is a show trial. Snowden's legal representative, Jesselyn Radick, wrote that the Espionage Act effectively hinders a person from defending himself before a jury in open court. She said that the arcane World War I law was never meant to prosecute whistleblowers, but rather spies who told secrets to enemies for profit. On June 23rd, 2013, Snowden had landed in Moscow, and he had boarded aboard a commercial aero flight from the Hong Kong August 1st. After 39 days in transit section, he left the airport and was granted temporary asylum in Russia for 1 year. A year later, his temporary asylum having been expired, Snowden received a 3-year residency permit, allowing him to travel freely within Russia and go abroad for up to 3 months. He was not granted permanent political asylum. In January of 2017, a spokesperson for the Russian Foreign Ministry wrote on Facebook that Snowden's asylum, which was due to expire in 2017, was extended by a couple more years. Snowden's lawyer, Kuchera, said the extension was valid until 2020. So it'll be, I mean, obviously it's not over yet kind of thing. There's still a lot going on with this case. It's not really even fully a case, but of course they're watching, right? And they're, they would love to extradite him and arrest him for treason and espionage, right? So what are your thoughts? My 4 big questions to you guys. Do you think it was a good or a bad thing that he blew the whistle on all of this? Many Americans' lives to be lost and no one does anything. Hillary is still out crawling the earth when she should be behind bars. Hypocrites. Thank you for sharing, mister. I appreciate it. The U.S. can't wait to get their hands on Snowden. Yeah, I would agree that they definitely would like for him to be held accountable for this. They would like to be able to thank you for all the likes. That's so awesome. They would definitely like to hold him accountable for what he's done here, right? But so, okay, now my next big question, what did it benefit to have this knowledge leaked for you guys, for the citizens like you and me, right? What did it benefit for you, if anything at all? It's a good thing? Yeah, you think so? Snowden is a hero? Good thing he whistle-blew that, Holly thinks. Okay. So has it changed your life in any way, knowing what you know now? That's another question of mine. Has it changed anything for you guys? I'm sure they will probably do whatever they can to get their hands on him, like you say, right? Well, thanks for the compliment. Thank you for discussing the things you do, such as depression. I live with depression, and it would be hard to do what you do. It gives you hope to get things together. Yes, I honestly, I don't think I'd be able to live the life that I live, dealing with the depression, how I deal with it, if I didn't have God first and then medication second. I mean, medications are key, you guys. It does help sort of regulate things in the body, but I put God before everything. So that's just how I roll, though. We know that pretty much anything we say, type, text, etc., is property of the U.S. government. Yes, I am more careful online and in texts. Very, very good to know. Yeah. I would tend to agree. I just think I'm a little bit more aware, of what's going on. You know, you don't think it's really changed anything, Holly? Snowden is right because have you seen the Clinton, Bush, or even Obama hit list and their numbers still climbing? No, I have not. But I can imagine that there would be a lot of pissed off officials, a lot of pissed off higher ups because of this leak, right? Your eyes are open for a lot now, Heather. Yeah. So, do you guys live your lives any differently having this information now? Like knowing this, like back in 2012 and 13 when it all went down, the whole world was kind of sitting on the edge of their seats almost, trying to figure out what was going to happen next, and if any of this was valid and true. And like, I think the majority of the public was just shocked. Is this for real? And for the people who are living their lives on not so straight and narrow, I could imagine there would have been a ton of yeah, revamping your your illegal business world or something, and not really necessarily relying so much on technology or whatever. But for the people that are just living an everyday day-to-day life, the only concern I have is what they could possibly do with that if they do have, say, nude photos of you, or they do have personal information of yours and stuff like that. Can they literally lock down and shut down uh, you know ways for you to advance and do better in life? I wonder. Like, I don't know. You're helping more people than you think. Oh, really? Well, I don't really know how many I'm helping, but I'm sincerely happy to hear any good news. Like if something good has happened and it was because of me or something, like please let me know, because I would love to hear that. Miss Shaylee, I guess you found yourself another device to join us. I thought you were no longer going to be with us. The last text message I received from you, you were going offline. You weren't going to have access to anything anymore. So I'm so glad to see you. So I have a special announcement of a special true story, survivor story of military lady, a military woman and her military various husbands. She's going to share her personal survivor story with all of us on Tuesday at our regular 2 p.m. CDT time, so Central Daylight Savings Time, okay? Excuse me. Holly's like, I hope the CIA man enjoys my nudes. I wonder if any of them like try to meet somebody that they like, because at one point it was stated that sometimes the officials would look up their own partners, their own lovers, to see what else was going on in their lives. I wonder if they find new lovers, or the people that they know have genuinely have a good heart, or they're a good all around person. Maybe they have a few skeletons, but they know what they are and they choose that person. They're like, oh, this one's not that bad, I think I could deal with this, and I'm attracted, and then go after that. I wonder. That would be a good way to do it in the dating world if you had that kind of access, don't you think? You'd be just like, oh, this person seems really nice. And then you find out what they're all into and you're like, no, thank you. Or vice versa. You find out that they're amazing and, run with it. You feel more paranoid but have bad anxiety. I'm noticing anxiety more and more with myself as I age, but trying not to let it have a hold on me at all. Try to just be confident and not let that have a hold on me. This kind of goes on behind scenes. They have no idea how we would react if we knew what all is going on. Well, and I think I have a feeling that certain people would feel as though their privacy was being infringed upon or whatever, you know? But I mean, like, again, I guess it's really only if you're doing something wrong. If you're going to do something that's, illegal or wrong in some way, shape, or form, it's a normal feeling to be a little pissed off that somebody might be completely watching you and you don't want anyone to know about that secret or something, you know? You could never be with somebody from the CIA, even though you have nothing to hide? I think I could. I don't think I would care. I would feel extra protected. Maybe they could help answer some of my thank you for the nice compliments while they're sitting at work monitoring. Oh boy. They would run screaming from yours. You're so funny, Jacqueline. Did any of you guys watch the movie recently who maybe didn't see it but knew that we were going to be talking about this? So you went and, checked out the Snowden movie? Because I would love to know if thank you. Birachishidi. Lek Birashidi. I hope I'm saying that right. But did anybody go and watch the movie recently just to kind of know a little bit more about what we were going to be talking about? Not yet. Oh man, I rewatched it last night just to get a nice refresher in my head again, just to watch it one more time. But it's free on Netflix. So if you haven't seen it and you have Netflix, I strongly suggest checking it out. It's a really good movie. Black and white TV. No, I'm not watching it. I value my privacy. Oh boy. Oh man. I sometimes will just be like, stop watching me. Yeah, no, it's a really good movie. If you've never seen it, I recommend checking it out. It's a good true story. So it's the real deal, it really happened. You're funny, black and white TV. That's awesome. No, I don't want to watch anything. Oh boy. My kiddo is gone to his friends. I'm gonna check it out tonight. Yeah, no, it's a wicked movie, you guys, Hello, Roger Kangaroo. I do have Facebook. I have about 10 social media platforms, and they are all under my name. They're all under my name, Sherry Wiens. So my Instagram is like one Ms. Sherry, Facebook, it's like Sherry Wiens. You'll find True Stories with Sherry Wiens on there. I have a page. But yeah, it is a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it. No, I don't have WhatsApp. Apparently WhatsApp just had a breach in their own stuff. No thanks. I've used it only for work, and that was like last year, and I've never had the app since. See you later. I just don't need it. There's so many other platforms to communicate on. It's just not necessary for my phone number to be out there like that. Story time is each week, 2 p.m. CDT, so Central Daylight Savings Time, on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And we always have true stories going on. I'm excited to bring you, this true story on Tuesday. This lady, courageously served her country and was mistreated along the way by not just one, but several husbands. And, she survived it all, and her story is profound. So I can't wait to have her come on and share her side of it all. I'm going to let her do that, just like I did with the last survivor story that we did together, where I had a special broadcast on Saturday at like 9 or whatever. But I'm going to let her come on and share her story from her lips, and you guys will hear it firsthand. But I was just blown away. It was just an amazing, amazing story. Yeah, it should be good. I hope you guys enjoy it. So. Did who divorce? Oh, yeah, she did divorce all of her husbands. Yes. Yeah, no, she is not being mistreated anymore. I did give you my Instagram. It's called One Miss Sherry. What does it matter if she's rich? I don't think that pertains. To be honest, I don't think that matters. And it's kind of personal. I don't think that anybody needs to know who has what amount of money. Because let's be honest, the world is not very honest, and the majority of people will just connect with you for a free ride, for you to support them, for them to benefit from you. So it's best to just keep that kind of shh. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I had like a almost a 2-hour conversation with her over the phone just a couple of days ago, and she is just so inspiring. You know, it's an amazing thing to hear that she served her country all throughout this process while building her family and just struggling all the way. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. It's a good story. No, I'm not sending you an invitation, Mr. Let it be, Mr. 5. No. What are we shitting? We're talking about personal finance, really. I had somebody asking if the survivor is now rich and all of that, which really does not matter. And you could tell the level of maturity from the person that was asking. That they are not very mature. They are perhaps 5 years old. I mean, honestly, what does it matter how much money somebody has? But that's just proof of how shallow the world has gotten, unfortunately, sadly. It's all about garbage now. It's not about your, integrity and authenticity and your genuineness. It's all about money, and that's just sad. That is just sad. Yeah, I'm not talking to you, Roger Kangaroo. I was talking to that other guy there that's on there saying those kinds of things. Oh no, it was you, Roger Kangaroo. I am talking to you. But yeah, absolutely crazy, Yeah, I know. I do that sometimes. A snort just gets snuck in there somehow. I don't know why. Frankie Monster that killed a school friend in 83 is caught and headed to prison. Like recently caught? Is that from one of those DNA things again, Jacqueline? I love those stories. That's so cool. Like the Golden Gate serial killer was caught like that. I was like, that is amazing. Yeah, that's so cool. I really love those kind of stories. For real. You used to snort? Oh boy. I don't know why it happens oddly. It just kind of comes out whenever. I'm like, oh my goodness, stop. Ryan S. So, yeah, very, very interesting story with Edward Snowden and all of that went down 2013. Yes, money is the root of all evil. Anybody that's coming at you with that first is just not somebody you probably want to tango with, and they're probably not going to be authentic and genuine with you all the way through. I wanted to share with you guys, I've been going on a health kick lately. I wanted to share with you guys, so I went on, here's what I'm doing. I'm minimizing the amount of carbohydrates and breads that I'm eating. So I went and I bought like these smaller tortillas. They're literally the size of this lid, like they're just a small tortilla. But they were corn tortillas and I didn't really like them, but they were only 100 calories for 2 tortilla shells. So you could have 2 this size and only be eating 100 calories with the bread alone, right? So, but I tasted it and it was dry AF, like so dry. Like I'm like, bleh, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know what I was going to do with them. So I got on the internet and I looked up Rachel Ray. She has a wicked cooking show. She's on TV. I'm sure you guys have all heard of her. She had a couple of really cute recipes for making your own tortilla chips. So I cut up a bunch in like really tiny little strips. And I put some oil and cayenne and some chili flakes, some pepper, a little bit of onion salt, and I cooked, like fried them up kind of thing in the oven. Not really fried, cooked them up in the oven. And I used them on my salad yesterday, some of them. These ones I made, and I put honey. I made honey tortilla little chips with flaxseed. So super healthy, really gets things going. So yummy. And like I said, only 100 calories for the 2 tortilla shells. Honey, I mean, the honey is literally like nothing for calories, maybe 5. Flaxseed, again, like maybe 5. So a perfect, cute little snack for instead of chips. And I'm telling you, they're so crunchy. They're so good. I don't even want to eat them online because you guys are going to be like, log off, log off. But they're so good. So I made these yesterday with the corn tortilla shells, which you can't eat them like corn tortilla shells really plain. They're just kind of too dry. And they don't chew like flour tortilla shells, you know? So they kind of like crumble apart. Let me show you I'll be right back. Okay, so these are the tortilla chips that I made. And they are nice and crunchy as well, and spicy, and perfect for salads. Like I'm on a huge salad kick right now where I'm just frying up, like, not frying. I gotta stop saying frying because I don't fry anything. Well, I use a pan, but I don't fry anything with oil. I just cook it on the oven, but it's a pan. So, but anyways, yeah, trying to minimize the carbs and maximize the veggies and protein only. So morning breakfasts, I've been doing like yogurt with a little bit of granola. And then I've been just doing like a huge salad that I have like a little bit of meat, and I have cranberries, some cabbage, the lettuce, a little bit of the corn tortilla chips, and light dressing, just an Asian sesame light dressing. And then I just jam-packed myself with a crap ton of water. And I literally have not had a glass of wine in a week because I'm like, you know what? I think I've been having a little too much wine lately. We need to just slow down on that. My tummy was not feeling great, and my back wasn't feeling even worse. So I thought, you know what? We're going to get healthy and we're going to do it now. No better time to start than right now. So sorry, Heather. I'm definitely going to be doing a big ass salad for tonight too. So, but I just been keeping it at the 2 meals a day kind of thing, cramming myself with water and then a little snack, either like last night I had a small bowl of a little bit of ice cream. The night before that, I had a little bit of popcorn. Just try not to snack at night though, because you're just going to go to sleep and sleep on it, right? So if you can hold off and not snack and not eat anything after like 8 o'clock at latest, I think you're going to find that you're going to shed some inches and pounds right quick. Try it with me. I bet you will see. Mummy Drummy, Sherry, totally off topic, but your dress is divine. It's exactly what I was looking for my mother-in-law wedding next month. Aw, I have all my clothes are from thrift stores. So I had bought this at the thrift store. Geesh, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and like it's a nice long dress, Small flowers, less flowers make you look smaller. If you have a lot of flowers, it's going to make you look bigger. I know that. That's a tip and a trick from clothing stuff. And all of my stuff's from the thrift store, literally everything that I own. So if you like the way that I look, I can certainly do like hauls and show you guys things. I always find name brand clothes and they're always discount prices. I am like the bargain shop queen. Everything I own is secondhand and it's gorgeous because they make sure that I choose wisely. I don't choose quickly because I need it. I'll wait. I'll make myself wait and go without for a little bit longer before, buying brand new. Most of the time, brand new is too expensive anyways. And the way things are made nowadays, they are not, solid and long lasting and all of that. You're better off to go and, look at antiques and stuff and pay, couple $100 for one piece and it's going to last. And it's, like it's sturdy, like you get dressers and bed frames and all that kind of stuff these days. And it's all particle board and plastic and stuff. And like, good luck. I mean, I could just, I just know that would ruin in my house really fast. And I don't want to have to buy things over every year just because it's used a little bit. Holly, what country are you in? You're a deep pop hunter? What country are you in? Oh, yeah. Well, you don't want to just bring it home and wear it. You got to bring it home and wash it. But I'm actually absolutely rocking it. You're so sweet. Thank you, Mummy Drummy. I don't really wear dresses a whole lot, but today felt like a dress day with the straight hair. It was like I really just wanted to show the hair all straight, Oh, you're so sweet. What are we on time-wise? I look like $1,000,000. You're so sweet. Excuse me. Pardon me. You're originally from the UK, but you're in the US? I figured it was somewhere different because here I've never heard of the Depop hunter. The Depop must be thrift store, but in your country, right? Hello, Mummy Drummy. But yeah, that's, the whole thrift shop and the whole like outfit deal. I don't know. I could certainly show you guys like how I do it. Excuse me. Pardon me. I'm so sorry. I am doing okay, Mohammed. Thank you for asking. Hello, Happy Man. Hello, Mikhail. I love doing broke bitch style stuff though, for sure. I've been thinking about maybe doing like like blinging out a shoe or something, but I want to find some nice bling first. Very nice. Where are you from? I am from Canada. Hey, Jennifer. Depop is an app. You buy people's clothes. Oh. It's awesome. You have it in the US. Interesting. It's not here yet that I know of. I've never heard of it yet. But, you know, what was that story that I recently heard? Well, oh man, never mind. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it on here and mix the two up too much. Just be careful when you're meeting people for things, you know what I mean? Make sure you're meeting in public places and whatever. If you're going to go to somebody's house, it's a little bit more dangerous, right? So be careful. Very cool, Morocco man. Anything you had and loved can be found at Poshmark. What's Poshmark? Another thing I've not heard of. Hello, Alindisby. Ali in this bee. Sorry. Hello, Ali. Welcome. You guys are just so great with all the likes, so much love. I just appreciate it so much. So kind. For Rizzle. I have a personal rule for myself that I am in the house before dark. Yeah, that's a good personal rule. Yeah. Yeah, my family still lives in Canada. Everybody's up here. Everybody's here, but spread out. So mostly like Ontario and Toronto area and stuff like that. But online store. Okay. Ooh. You lost a hat that you loved and you found it again. That's so cool. Right on. I love that when that happens to me with party light stuff because I used to sell party light. So sometimes you go to the thrift store and you'll see party light thing I used to have, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I found it again. Thank you for the compliment. Am I live on Instagram? I think I might have it connected, but why is it not showing? It's not. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, Allie. That's becoming a thing here. A man selling a car brought his baby in the back seat, got out to let potential buyer into driver's seat and drove off. Baby was found on the side of the road 2 hours later. Holy crap. That's so crazy. So scary. There's just a lot of scary things happening all around the world. I didn't realize that on June 11th, the ACLU had filed a lawsuit against James Clapper, director of the National Intelligence, alleging that the NSA phone records program was unconstitutional. In December 2013, 10 days after Judge Leon's ruling, Judge William H. Paul III came to the opposite conclusion in the ACLU versus Clapper. Although acknowledging that privacy concerns are not trivial, Pauly found that the potential benefits of surveillance outweighed these considerations and ruled that the NSA's collection of phone data is legal. So more than likely, that is obviously still going on, right? What's the weather like? Well, we seem to be having like a chillier kind of a summer. It's legitimately kind of a cold wind, but it is in double digits, you know. It is like above, it's like 15 and up, but it's still a little bit chilly because for some reason the wind is cold. So it's almost still like fall kind of weather where you're wearing, you know, light pants and maybe a light jacket, you know. There is a God in heaven, thankfully. Yes, baby. Stunned, but well. Well, that's good. That's good. That's crazy, but that's good. At least the baby's fine. If you want scary, try to no, thank you. No, I would never go on any of those dating sites. I would never go on those Tinder sites to hook up randomly. Never. You'll never see me on there. In fact, actually, some random guy decided to message me yesterday and ask me if I was in Winnipeg because my profile says Winnipeg, right? And he's like, "Do you want to hang out?" And I'm just like, I don't even know you. No, I don't want to hang out. And I'm not in Winnipeg. And even if I was, I wouldn't just meet up with some random dude. Sorry. He's like, sorry to bother you. Like, what did you think? I was just gonna meet up with you like that? I don't even know who the heck you are. Forget it. Like, wow. Exactly. No. Like, freak. Oh boy. Seriously. Nope, don't need that. So, but it's crazy how fast, you know, some people would like to move, you know. We have Celsius weather, by the way. Most people, like in the US, you guys go by Fahrenheit. We go by Celsius. Double digits for us Canadians is like, woo, we made it to summer. What do you mean it's only 12 degrees? We made it to summer. You know? Coleracy, Yvette, it's 12 degrees there, right? And she's still probably enjoying it. It's much better than snow any day. Hey, Gina, how's it going, chickie? Shady lady, UK, same today. Hennessy, your hair looks pretty straight. I look like a mermaid. Well, I don't know about the mermaid necklace thing. It's just, it matches the earrings. I was going for matching. You can't really see because the hair it's blocking it, but 16 degrees and I'm running around half naked, right? For those of you that are not already on the app called TikTok, that is one I recently joined, and there's a lot of Canadians on that app. It's really fun to see some of their little skits and their little. If you're not already on that, it is a cute little app. I would recommend. Check it out. It's fun. Shady Lady says, dangerous here in the UK, murder on dating site documentary. Yeah. I think the dating world is just a scary place all in all, you know. Yeah. Take the time to sincerely get to know people and make sure that you tell them no so you can really get to know them on some things, you know. And I feel like you don't really even know somebody until you tell them no, and then you kind of see their true colors come out, you know. You miss the cold weather, Holly? Growing up in the UK, now living in California, clothes are pretty much not useful to me 90% of the time. Just walks around in her bathing suit all the time. We have had heat waves like that here in the past, so I do know what it's like to just be like, oh, completely just drowning in the heat and the thickness of the humidity, right? So I totally know what that's like. We have experienced it here. It's not all year long. I don't think I'd even be able to handle living in a climate like that all year long. Nor would I be able to live in a climate that's cold all year long. I like the variety that Manitoba has now. Before, when I was a kid growing up, it was literally 2 seasons. It was winter and construction. So we just had like, crazy like roadways cutting off and all this like construction work just going on left, right, and center. And then we had winter and that was it. It was like 6 months of both, you know? Now that I'm older, it's more 4 seasons. We actually see a spring and a fall in there too. I mean, you did see the fall before, but I'm kind of exaggerating, but not really. Extremely good advice. Honestly, since I woke up today, I've only been in my panties all day long. Slowly dying over the heat. Have you seen that post on Facebook where it's person laying on the floor and they've got like 16 fans all around them? Like summer's got me like just dying. But yeah, I totally know what it's like to kind of live in your bathing suit for, a couple of days or whatever because the heat is so strong. I strongly suggest hitting up a beach or a pool somewhere if you can. That's the best way to deal with the heat is just get into some water, Advice for any Californians, buy a big ass fan. Buy an air conditioner. Don't just go with the fan. The fan's not enough. I had so much snow this year. It was like, no more. I just can't do it. Right? Like the next snowfall, I'm leaving. That's funny. You can have 4 seasons in one day, mommy? Yeah. Sheesh. Oh, man. I've heard of that. That's crazy. But you know what? Here we kind of get that. Okay, so when the seasons are transitioning, let's say it is going from the winter into spring, right? In the mornings, it will be like frost and chilly. You're going to need to have that coat and, closed-toed shoes and, maybe a scarf, right? By the afternoon, the sun's poked out and it's kind of decent where you don't necessarily need the coat. And you could probably do an open toe shoe, and then by like late afternoon, evening, and it's so warm, you're just like, you're outside all day long, you know what I mean? Enjoying it. And then, the cool weather, when the sun goes down, it hits again. So I could not do without my AC. I would just be a biatch on 2 feet with the heat. Forget it, I can't do no heat. All in one day or 1 week. Yeah, that's crazy. You just have to dress in layers, You can just wear you wear a tank top with the shirt or whatever, or just sweater, and then you slowly unlayer as the day goes. That's funny, Jacqueline. March and April especially are seriously schizophrenic in terms of weather. Sun splitting with stones, then boom, hail. Aw. We have not seen hail here for so long, in all honesty. We just haven't had the right climate of the cold, hot hitting together enough to bless us with it. Hello, Nicholas. You can't do the cold, conquer thyroid? No. Well, you know what? It's not that bad if you dress for it. Really, it's not that bad. My name caught your attention. You spread awareness on getting to criminal awareness. Nice. Yes, I am all about true stories. So whether that be crime or missing people or survivors or natural disasters or just some kind of chaos that's happening somewhere around the world, if it's a true story, I'm all over it. Can't get to all of them though, but I'm all over it. And the cold is not that bad if you dress for it. It's really not that bad. Like you can literally be out in the middle of cold and be so hot in all of your getup, where you're just like, oh, I want to take some off. But the minute that you expose the skin, you're like, no, I don't. No, I don't. Just kidding. It literally freezes you in like under 2 to 5 minutes or whatever, depending on the wind chill rate. Mine is the lazy option of that. Always be naked. Just have lots and lots of blankets to wrap yourself up in. Well, I can't always do naked. I got to go places. Got to see people. You're watching 2 trials, Chica. Which ones are you into right now? Have some of ours. We don't mind sharing. Handy at barbecue. Drinks get hot too. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Excuse me. Should I do one more cup of coffee or tea? I don't know. Do you guys still want to hang out? Hello, Ducky Combs in the house. What the heck is a baba? I know that is like a soother for a child. Is that what you mean? It's funny if that's what you mean. Okay, I'm gonna make one more cup. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. Ouch. Chica Tim Jones Jr. killed his 5 kids, and Bourgogne trial teens by going the wrong way on a highway, stealing a police car to try to kill more people. Oh my goodness, that's insane. Sheesh. Where did this all happen? Leave a house and coat and fluffy boots, come home in a full bikini. Doing layers, right? You're hilarious. Holly, that was a good one. Seriously. Just all bundled up and coming back with the hat on. Sarong. Hi, honey, I'm home. That's funny. That is hilarious. The Tim Joneses is a whole brand of special. Both are pleading insanity. Shady lady, just saw her in the comment too. I noticed. Oh boy. I did not see the Chris McNabb, Courtney Bell trial. High on meth, Chris killed their 2-week-old baby. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Why do people do stupid things like that, hey? Ay, ay, ay. That was fascinating to watch. Didn't watch it, but wouldn't surprise me. Was Chris Watts tested for drugs? Well, we won't know because all of those, all of that would be sealed under the doctor-patient confidentiality and stuff like that. So unless he would want to release it, which, you know, like I highly doubt it. Holly. But yeah, no, I don't think he, I know that he would probably went in for a psychological analysis kind of thing, basically as a measure to see if he was going to plead insanity or some stupid thing. They would have that kind of information to be able to say, no, like, we did a psych analysis. This person very much knew what they were doing. You know, they knew the difference between right and wrong, blah, 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 right? So I believe that Chris Watts had a psych, doctor meeting or whatever, but none of that stuff's going to get released to the public at all because it's a doctor-patient confidentiality, right? The ex-wife of Tim Jones and mother of the 5 kids killed came on another site I follow. Very, very cool. Ouch. Yeah, like, I don't understand that. I don't know, Jacqueline. It just, that's, in my opinion, that's the devil at work, for real. We need more prayers for all the little ones, all the babies, all the children, all the mothers, all the hurting people around the world. We need prayers for all of them, in my opinion. Didn't think the state proved, you didn't think that the state had proved their case? You're shocked that he got life? I go out in a bikini and come back in oomsies? Back in balaclava. Oh my goodness. What are you doing, shady lady? Holy. A buttload of caffeine in him. Oh, I definitely am sure that he had a buttload of caffeine in him. He admittedly stated that he didn't sleep very well at night, and he was doubling up on some of those patches, the burn and stuff like that. So, he was like, go, 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 go. I don't even know if he actually did sleep that night. He says he did, but I don't know if he did. I don't know. Well, we're not going to be able to see if Chris Watts had anything in his system when he was put into the correctional facility, because for what benefit? And that would be breaching his own, confidentiality of his medical records, Thank you. Isn't it PIPA? Is it HIPAA? I don't know. You would know better because you're in the US, but no, like there's no way that we would get that kind of information. It would never be released to us. Oh, you're joking, Shady Leanie. I'm like, oh no, what the hell is she doing when she's going out? Oh man. No, caffeine won't necessarily make you kill your family, but caffeine, on top of not having proper sleep, on top of being kind of what he appeared to be in his mind, I think he thought that he was trapped or stuck in this routine, and he was just methodically going about life day after day, doing the same things and what he was supposed to be doing, whether that was picking up the girls or bringing them somewhere, taking them to an event, or their personal routine with the children. He definitely, I think that he was sort of stretching himself thin, in my opinion. He really wasn't necessarily mentally clear, right? He may have thought he was or something with those things, but I think that the lack of the sleep deprivation alone could make somebody overreact in a moment of heated whatever. But I also kind of think that he kind of planned this in a sense. And the reason that I think that is because of, the phone call that happened between Cody and Roberts, or Roberts and, oh man, I can't remember his name right now, but he went to go and meet these guys in the Safeway parking lot for the Fire Stick. There was issues that his buddy coworker was having with it, so he met Chris, and Chris had the girls in the Lexus with him, and it was then that a phone call was coming in from Roberts stating that the survey site needed a repair to be done. And it was then that Chris had offered that, and further, that was Friday, and furthermore, Saturday and Sunday, making sure that he would be the only one going out to the site, and making sure, that nobody else was going to go there and be there with him to help him, that he's got it, it's fine, kind of thing. So that's what makes me think that he kind of planned some of this. And like I said, the sleep deprivation alone, never mind the caffeine, never mind, whatever else he had going on, his strong sex life at the time too. All of that would have been, fairly draining. Plus he was working out, plus he was working. Put that all together and smack it in with a huge marital fight of, I'm leaving you for my lover. And, she's like, screw you, you're never going to see the kids again. You're done in this town or something, you know what I mean? And all hell broke loose. I don't know. But I definitely think that the sleep deprivation alone would definitely make somebody just go off the deep end, But he still knew what he was doing was wrong. And that's why he can't plead the insanity card. He still knew the difference between right and wrong. He could have let go, but, something sort of took him over. He didn't, keep control on his actions and reactions, and did the unthinkable by annihilating his entire family. So absolutely brutal. Would it be cool if we all put out usernames? Yes, you can. Blah blah blah. I had already put it in this feed, but there you go. But definitely, it seemed like Chris Watts had some premeditated intentions in some way. I believe that he was overly frustrated and that he saw a better, different life with his lover, Nicole Kessinger, and that is why he did what he did. But I will never understand how that was a good trade. I'll never be able to figure that one out in my head as to why, like, how that was helpful in any way. Like, now his entire life is going to be spent behind bars because of what he did. So I definitely feel like Nicole Kessinger either knew something more about this or perhaps helped him, with some of it. I don't know, but I don't know if we'll ever know. I think that's going to depend on whether or not we get polygraph test done on her, and if we can ever see her GPS coordinates to see if she actually was anywhere around the Watts home when this went down on August 13th, and middle of the night, you know what I mean? So Watts overreacted many times in a sense, right? He was ridiculous in trying to cover up his guilt. Like, he was trying to seem concerned, but none of his actions were lining up with being concerned. So he was vocalizing that that's what he felt and that he was concerned for their safety, but yet, he knew full well that he was the one that took all of their breaths. So it's baffling in a sense as to how he thought he was going to even get away with something like that. A normal guy would say, "See you in court." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's possible. I think that the girlfriend definitely knew a lot more about it. And if that's the case, like, she could have stopped it or prevented it at that point, but she didn't. I think his visit with his parents and the whole nutgate thing threw him over the edge. The nut incident that happened between Shanann and Cindy and stuff, it did seem to play like a pretty heavy role on Chris, because Shanann expected him to back up her and her family, their family. They had built this family, and to risk somebody's health, safety, and potentially give them something they're allergic to. I mean, you can imagine the ferocity in Shanann at seeing something like that, after specifically asking to remove those things from the house before they visited, right? So pretty audacious, right? Yeah, I would imagine that she probably didn't really even talk to too many people, but the fact that she seemed to cover her tracks in their phone calls, even, trying to make sure that her text messages were not being read by the police, and that she was, in fact, really just talking with Chris, seems a little odd and suspicious. A more emotionally mature person would have realized he was still in the honeymoon phase with her. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, he had never really experienced somebody who was as like-minded as him, right? I don't know. Yeah, the delete all, make sure you delete this, delete that. And, ugh. So there's a lot of unanswered questions. Hello, Norbert. Interesting. Hello, Emin. It was just sexual preference that they were trying new things that I'm sure all of us have kind of almost been there ourselves. I have always stated that that really isn't important at all. Like, who cares what position, where they like it, how they like it? I don't think any of that matters. I was more concerned with was there any illegal activities that happened between them? Did she know that he was going to kill his family? Did she help him? Did she dispose of one of the girls in the tank, in the oil tank? You know, was she fully honest? Because we got a shit ton of lies from both of them that, like, for real, if it hadn't have been for, great FBI and police work and investigation stuff, they would have just lied through their teeth right through it, and hoped to fool them. But well, I don't know. To be honest, you guys, it's a little bit odd that Chris doesn't seem to fully know how the girls died, and he keeps mentioning this blanket that he's put over their face before smothering them with his hand, and there's no fibers found in their bodies. And I mean, the fact that they were both in separate tanks, like, why would you walk all the way past the first tank to go to the second tank? I don't know. That just to me seems all too well thought out for the level of stupidity that was actually happening with this case, and how they were trying to cover their tracks and hide things. They weren't successful in doing that, and I feel like, there's just more to this that doesn't make sense. Like, I will never understand why he kept mentioning the blanket. How many times did Graham and Tammy, the investigators, question him on specifically that blanket, on specifically the way that they died? Not obviously not trying to lead on that doesn't seem correct. They're just letting him talk, and he's just talking, and it's not adding up. I don't think that the coroner would have been wrong in this, you guys. I don't think the coroner would have missed fibers in the mouth and the throat and the lungs. I don't think even with the oil there that a coroner wouldn't be able to see under a microscope the fibers from the blanket. So, and there were none. There was absolutely none. It even says that in the coroner's report. So, I personally was just kind of shocked that he kept saying, with the blanket, with the blanket. And I mean, it was just like, but there were no fibers for that to be actually true. And there's no way, that he put the blanket over his hand. And they specified, they asked him, and he specifically said the blanket and then his hand. So things not adding up and stuff is what's making everybody overly obsessed with trying to figure out what the fiddle really happened and who's really fully guilty for all of this. No, they just found a little bit of hair from around the opening of the oil tank from Bella being put in, and Bella had scratches on her butt from being put into through that 8-inch hole space. It makes my eyes pop, Kathy. You like the necklace? Thank you. I was going for matching, but thank you. Far too fishy. Yeah, the whole blanket thing. It just doesn't seem to add up. And like I said, even in the prison interview recently, they were trying to get him to specify, and he kept reiterating that it was the blanket first. So I don't know. That just doesn't seem to make any freaking sense at all. And I don't know how to figure it out. There's clearly way too many pieces missing for us to even fully fit it together, which is why we still talk about it, because so many of us are intrigued and we really do want the full truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Like, come on, people, right? We're supposed to be having the information brought to the public, and yet we get little bits and pieces and missing things on purpose, so that why we can't figure it out. It's kind of silly. I don't understand why they don't just let it all out. I mean, I can understand keeping, obviously, the pictures of the deceased locked away, the video vivint camera footage from inside the house that perhaps picked up some of the crime happening in progress. I really don't think we need to see some of those things, but there's some other things about this investigation surrounding specifically Nicole and her potential involvement that just leaves us more questions. It really doesn't answer any of them. And I think that everybody keeps hoping and praying that maybe this is going to blow over and people are going to stop talking about it, but we're not. I don't think it's going to happen, because let's face it, like, everybody's going on and on and on about this. There are channels that are literally still talking about the evidence and stuff, which I'm just like, aren't you a little bit late on this? I mean, it's long over with, but whatever. If that's what they want to do in order to collect the views, I think you can really see who's in the business of collecting against the victims versus who is just in the business of sharing and raising awareness on heinous things happening around the world. You can very much tell the difference. And when people are still, like, milking the fact that they're talking about, the people, the coworkers' testimony, the neighbors' testimony, the CCTV footage, the disclosure documents, the files. It's like, you clearly are milking this if you are still talking about it, because we have long moved on. And although we might step on it here and there to kind of mull it over together a little bit, we aren't still just focused completely on analyzing and putting out more of that story. So I think it's really obvious who is in the business of benefiting off of the victims and who isn't. You can very much see certain channels and their motivation and where that's coming from. Could be Watts or possibly friends of NK. I don't know if friends would have helped NK in anything like this. I mean, let's face it, we're talking about murder of 3 people, 2 of which were children. I don't think there's a lot of people that would be like, hey, let me help you out. Like, I mean, look at the way she reacted even when the officers wanted to get Jim's info, which I'm sure they ultimately ended up getting, and also, talking to this man. But look at how she acted with that. I don't think I see anybody helping her with any kind of thing like this, to be honest. So yeah, it's one thing if we're doing a live show and there's a random question about it or whatever, like what just happened here. But when you are completely focused on mulling over all of the stuff that was made public, like, this is long over with. You clearly are just trying to, benefit off of these people by milking thousands of views. And I mean, of course, the authorities have to continue running around to all these fucking channels just to make sure that nobody's going to, speak out of turn or out of mind, or they're going to say something that is, defamation of character, or something that they could bring a legal issue onto you for. So of course they're going to continue monitoring it. That's why you have a couple of thousand views on it, because most of the public has kind of dropped it by now. But the officials have to carry on with every single person that has shared something about this. So, I mean, it makes sense when you see your viewer count go up when you start talking about Chris Watts and Shanann Watts. I mean, it's not just the people, you get a few that maybe didn't know too much about this, but it's mostly the officials and the people that are in this case that have handled this that have to come in and check up and listen in on every single thing. So it's no wonder that you're going to get a couple of thousand views, on information that is so old, you really shouldn't even be sharing it anymore. If you missed it, I mean, you should be watching replays on videos that were already done. We really in my opinion, shouldn't necessarily be carrying on to analyze and critique and go through each line for line of information. I think that that is just it's not really ethical in my opinion. Like, it's long over with. If this was still going on, like the Patrick Frazee case, well, yeah, have at her. But this is long over with. And the only questions that are really left is, what did his girlfriend maybe have more involvement on, and what was that? You know? Otherwise, like Chris Watts, he confessed and he's sentenced, and the families are just trying to fricking heal, and yet you've got people that are starting up channels just to talk about this. That is so sad. I literally pray for the Ruziks and the Watts, to be honest, because I can't believe that there's people in the world that are still making them go through and relive this pain when it's already done and over with, and they're just trying to move forward now. And people keep pulling them back. Like, you want to support them, you can support them by buying a shirt from, Shine Like Shanann. You can support them by sending a donation through the mail to them directly. You don't actually have to be starting up a channel to analyze information that was released more than 8 months ago. Like, come on. I think you're a little bit late, but yes, it is very sad. And it does add to the trauma for the people who have lived through this. And it's really, really sad that people can't just move on. If you don't have any other stories to share and this is your only ally, I think you don't need to be on YouTube, really. Like, if that's your only goal, you really shouldn't. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, some people still want to talk about it, but to be analyzing all the information is just completely unnecessary. And there are so many channels that already have it. To put out anything new at this point is redundant and ridiculous. And you can very well see the motivation and intention of those certain channels. And it's unfortunate and sad that they don't see it themselves. I mean, even I got to the point after reading absolutely freaking everything. Okay, it's done. We need to move on. And it doesn't look like anybody's going to release any more information to us about Nicole or her involvement. So, like, what, we're just going to keep talking in circles? Like, if, eventually it's just enough is enough. So, shame on the channels that are doing that, because you're only suscepting these victims to more, victim type treatment. So you got to say goodnight, Mummy Drummy. All right, have a good night. We can't let it go because hate homeworkers and men who don't kill children. Yeah, that's fine to discuss those kinds of things. It's discussing all of the evidence and all of the disclosed to the public information and rehashing and reanalyzing and going through all of that again that is completely unfrickin' necessary. And the only reason that you're getting thousands of views is because the officials have to get on it and watch it. They have to follow it. It's part of the job with the case, like, especially when it's involving people in the public, It really is sad, Gigi. I totally, totally agree. Like, I'm not even afraid or ashamed to say it. I had people come at me like that, trying to say, I just wanted to profit off of this. No. I started following it from the beginning, but I already had a channel before that I had already been following plenty of other true stories. This just happened to be another one of them, So when other people start up their channel just to start talking about this stuff, you can very clearly see that their motivation is simply to benefit from this case. And that's sad, very sad. Yeah, I believe in karma too. Yeah, I do completely. I absolutely agree. What? Yep. I don't even know how to completely finish that sentence, but definitely karma, like, but yeah, really heart-wrenching. Hello. Now, like again, you guys, it'd be different if new information came out, like such as the recent prison interview that happened with Coder Graham and Tammy. Of course, everybody's going to talk about that. We're all going to be trying to release that, excuse me, so that everybody can see it and hear it and understand it and whatever. But you have the latecomers that have maybe never heard a darn thing. And I'm telling you, like starting over from like the beginning is really not constructive and helpful in any way. I mean, what are you doing at that point? You're just gossiping. I mean, you're not raising awareness on anything. You're not spreading awareness about anything, so I don't know. He appeared to be a good father, but the eyes are the windows to the soul, and you could very much see that Chris Watts was checked the fuck out a lot. He did not care sincerely and genuinely for his daughters the way he kind of made himself appear to be. It was a great front, but I could see it in his eyes that he was just going through the motions. He really wasn't sincere or really enjoying the moment. I mean, even when they went to Myrtle Beach, you could see him standing in the background on his phone while, Shanann is trying to enjoy the kids enjoying a ride for the first time. Why is everybody all about the Insta? Can you not see that it says Sherry Wiens on my Instagram? Same name as on all my other social medias, including this one. All you got to do is look up Sherry Wiens and you can see all 15 of my social media platforms. I don't know why people keep asking for the name. Like, how are you not finding me is what I want to know. Like, all you need to do is look up my name and you will find me. So I'm really like confused as to why people are confused. Oh boy. So yeah, that's that. And I'm glad that you guys are, kind of all on the same page with me here. And I hope that the other channels actually hear this. I hope that they do have a little bit of a conscience and feel a little bit bad and try to move on, because there are so many, cases out there to talk about, to continue putting this entire family in this case all through more problems and more issues, and all of that is unfair to them. And for you to be the one that's responsible for that, I would hope that you would feel bad about it. But hey, that's up to you, how you feel about what you're doing with with your mouth and words to the world for everybody to see. I mean, you may feel like it's just you doing it, but the whole damn world sees and hears it. So when you're just starting out and you're starting out a channel, it's all about Chris Watts. It's all about Shanann Watts. It's all about making one or the other look good or bad. You're kind of totally exploiting the victims, and you're creating for them to be victims even longer. So, really. And I think people should check themselves. I don't think we need to be talking about it anymore. Wow. Thank you guys so much for all the likes. You guys freaking rock. I seriously love it. That's awesome. Some channels openly admit that they will talk about Chris Watts for the views only. Yeah, that's true. And I just feel really bad that they feel the need to go about continuing to do that. Heaven forbid that anything heinous ever happens in their life and they're treated the exact same way, right? How would they feel to have somebody completely, putting them through over and over and over and over and over again the same crap? I definitely, I don't think it's necessary. And whether or not you're able to admit and say, yeah, I'm totally doing that, well, shame on you then. You shouldn't be. How do you not feel bad in your heart about what you're doing to the Ruziks and the Watts? Like, these people just are trying to move on with their lives. The Watts family for the rest of their life has to go and visit their only son behind bars for the rest of his life. So I mean, unless something new happens, I really don't see the need to carry on talking about the same crap over and over and over when it's only going to hurt, you know, it's only going to hurt the victims more. So I thank you guys, all for watching. But yeah, definitely love your support, and I appreciate, all of your honesty to me and all of that. I appreciate your support here. Yeah, the Watts need to move on as well. The people should not hate as much as they do, in my opinion. That's only going to make a cold heart for you. It's not even going to benefit you any to have that cold heart. So, you're better to have the compassion and understanding and, sympathy than to just carry on because you get thousands of views on a subject. I could do that too. We could just all sit here and rehash and I could get thousands of views too. But that's not the goal for me and my channel. Of course, everybody wants thousands of views, but to resubmit the Watts and the Ruziks all the time through this it's a little much. I mean, whatever, though, to each their own. People might be afraid to feel guilty, but they shouldn't. I think that's a conscience, is it not? And I mean, maybe some people don't have a conscience, and they don't really care how they collect their views. But I personally don't feel the need to I really, really, really loved the Ruzik family. Like, I mean, I was so envious and like awestruck by the relationship that Shanann and her mother held together, how close they were, how helpful she was, her and her father, Frank, that they came and lived with them to help them with their kids. I mean, the tight knitness of the family was just, I mean, it was just so amazing. I mean, how could you not look at that and wish that you almost had that? So once it all is said and done and we've talked about it all, I don't see the need to carry on re-talking about the same things over and over and over just to collect those thousands of views. It's not that important to me to subject those people to all of that for that. I'm sorry, but that's not my point here. Yes, my point is to make money. Yes, my point's to get views, but it's not going to be at the risk of the Ruzik family. I have a lot more respect for them than that. Whether or not any of them wanted to talk to me ever or not, it doesn't matter. They've been through hell and back. So shame on the people who carry on with this. I really feel like we need to just put it to rest and move on. But to each their own, everybody has the power of free will. So it is your choice and your choice alone. So I don't know. If you choose to wrap your entire channel around that one case, I feel like you're not going to be successful for very long at all. I look forward to bringing you guys plenty of new true stories all the time. It doesn't always have to be about Chris Watts and Shanann and, Bella and Cece. And as much as we all love them, and you guys know that I do, because I mean, I have broke down crying right here with you guys. So you know that I deeply care about this case. And I had like read and watched and looked at absolutely every case file, absolutely every document, absolutely every photo, absolutely every interview. Whether or not it was repetitive, I read through everything because that case grabbed me so close when he went on national television and I'm sitting in my house and I saw him, pleading for his wife. I chose to look up Shanann Watts, and there she was with all those beautiful videos with all of their kids, And I mean, I just fell in love. How could you not? Like, whatever. So I think people should move on, but it is their choice and their prerogative. But if that's what they choose to put all their success on, I don't think it's going to last. Crap, I don't have any more coffee. Oh, I do. Hi, Denise. Why is Chica saying everyone just be careful giving out your social media accounts? Here's what the bigger thing is, Chica. Be careful of what information you are putting as public on your social media accounts. Like, don't put, your real address and leave that open to the public for any, you know, Tom, Dick, or Harry to come and check out and maybe come and visit you randomly. Don't put all of your information on your social media sites public. Lock it down so only you can see it. That way, only you and the app itself can possibly see where you are and whatever. If you let all your information go, out in the world, yes, that could be very dangerous. You don't know who's out there and who's watching and who wants to hurt you. There are channels saying children wasn't murdered at the site. Whatever. Like I said, it's pointless to be putting the Ruzick family through all more pain talking about this stuff when if you actually take the time to read through every single page of the 2,000 page document, 1,960 page document, you will actually see with your own eyes for yourself that, the girls were actually brought out, put into the truck, driven away with Shanann, like, whatever, I think it's ridiculous. There's not some conspiracy thing. There's not some, Illuminati thing going on, or some masonry, or some, sacrifice death, and all this far-fetched crap is really just sickening, to be honest with you. And no, like it's pretty obvious, even with the shadows, you guys. I have a video posted of the CCTV footage. So I have one chunk of 15 minutes and the next chunk of 15 minutes. And the last little chunk of 15 minutes, there was nothing. It was just blank, nobody in the driveway, nobody driving around. So I really felt no need to load up the last bit of the CCTV footage from Nate's camera. But if you look at that, you can clearly see two different size shadows come out to the truck, and Chris lifts them both up and puts them into the truck. So I don't know. Like, I think that, yeah, like the people that are bringing up these conspiracy type theories are completely reaching and only for the purpose of profiting. So whether or not you choose to support that is completely up to you and your prerogative. If you choose to click on it and watch it, that's supporting them right there. That is supporting them. So, me personally, I don't go to the channels that I don't support. I can't do it. I just won't watch. I refuse, It's not even an interest. It's not even in the back of my mind. I'm like, see you later. I got 50 million things better to think about and do that. I don't need that. Thanks, Yeah, they are being made like a circus ring. Like, it's really brutal, Thank goodness that they're in a better place and they're not hurting from any of this, because, Lord knows that this would be very painful if they could actually feel what was happening from all around the world. And I'm sure that they can even see the intentions of everybody's hearts now that they're up in a better place too. So to each their own. Yeah, I just have my personal information not shared with the public. I don't share my address with the entire public. Anyways, so hopefully, these people will let up and leave the family to kind of really try to put this to bed and move on, because I feel like the world not letting them do that is only subjecting them to more pain and abuse, and it's just unacceptable. We don't need to do that to anybody else. And like I said, heaven forbid that any one of our families ended up in this kind of a tragic situation. But it's sad for sure to see so many people continuing to sort of milk this. It really is sad. Yeah, like I said, if something new happened, great. Like it did at the first week of March, everybody was all over that, right? I was one of the first channels to put it up for everybody to hear and listen to. So creators were literally frantically, contacting Weld County in order to get access, and then, contacting the proper officials, FBI, in order to get access to these kinds of things, the prison interview. But yeah, like I tried to be all over it. So, for me particularly, to continue discussing it has no benefit other than to give me views which I benefit from financially. And I choose not to do that. I do have integrity. I do have genuinity. I do have authenticity. So I can't say the same for some of those other channels that are still doing this. And I hope that they do feel bad. I hope maybe they do even hear this and maybe decide to try to talk about something else to try to build their channel, not just around the Chris Watts case. Because when it's all said and done and you have gone through all the information, like then what? Then you still got to start over at one. So you might as well be doing it from the beginning and putting it in together. I don't know. No, Chica, that was just for me particularly because of supposedly some sort of block with the United States not being allowed to sort of dispose or distribute the footage of Shanann Watts coming home for the last time, kind of thing. And so when I got the file on February 18th, I uploaded on February 19th to all of you guys the footage of Shanann coming home for the last time. But I did not know about this block that was supposedly, that the Ruziks didn't want that, released. So I released it, and all hell broke loose with everybody jumping on my channel and taking my piece of recording and using it and editing it themselves and putting in their own commentary and whatever, versus any of them taking the exact file from their file that they got from Weld County. Nobody did that. They all just waited for me to start it, and then they all grabbed it off of me. So whatever. That also is said and done, but yeah, no, it was just me, and it was just that one thing, and I strongly believe that it was due to whatever block that the Ruziks had sort of requested that not be released. But that information did not reach Canada. We did not hear about that. I had no idea about it, and like I said, it seemed like it was a little bit set up, that somebody had sort of offered me the info, and was hoping I'd stumble and find that video, and I did. And I think they were hoping that I was just going to upload it straight from the file, but I didn't. I made my own creation with it, but whatever. I think that it was borderline set up so that if I did it the wrong way, I would have had my channel shut down. I would have had my channel completely shut down. But luckily, I am smart too, and I did it in a way that made it only mine. Unfortunately, it took that happening before anyone else in the US would show that footage. So, but again, to all the news places and everybody that's doing these kinds of things, to each their own, And I've always said you might get away with things for now here on Earth, but I mean, there's always somebody bigger, the creator, the judgmenter, that's going to be watching. So you're not going to get away with it forever. It's just going to be for now. So yeah. So I really, really love all of you guys. I thank you for watching. It's always a pleasure to have you guys come and join me, support me, chat with me. And, I really enjoy our conversations. If you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed, I would love to see you hit that subscribe button and join me regularly, Tuesdays and Saturdays, 2 p.m. Central Daylight Savings Time. We have a lot of interactive conversations here, and the more the merrier is my mentality. So as long as everybody's cordial and kind, you can share whatever the heck you want. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video show today, throw up a like sign. It shows me a form of support there. And I will see you guys again soon for another true story with me, Sherry Wiens. I hope you guys have a safe rest of your weekend and enjoy the sun and the beautiful weather. And we'll see you again soon. Much love to all of you guys. Bye for now. Stay safe out there.